Good morning, my love muffins. Reverend Sue from All Paths to God, recording live from my living room. Know the truth? I hear you. And the truth shall set us free. Though that word truth is a little contaminated for me lately, especially as we're coming down the home stretch of the election process. It seems to be thrown around as a battle cry, with everyone claiming that what they know and their piece of information is the absolute truth and everything else is lies. Of course, I don't know that the religious process is much different than that. Don't we claim that what we know is the truth, the absolute truth? It reminds me of one of my favorite stories, which I'm sure I've told a zillion times, but about a soldier who was in World War II, and he was under heavy fire, and he ran and he jumped into a foxhole, and a spray of bullets was just clearing his head, and he was frantically digging in the dirt to deepen the hole, and he unearthed a silver crucifix. And not a minute later, another man jumped into the foxhole with him, and he was relieved to see it was the army chaplain. And so he said, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you." And he held up the crucifix and he said, "Pastor, how do you work this thing?" Well, isn't that what a religious, spiritual journey is about? Trying to figure out how to work this thing. What is the truth? And what is our relationship to it? I know that I ask myself all the time, what is my personal belief around truth? And certainly our prayer ministry and our board get together to discuss that and have it guide us. And we always come to the exact same conclusion, that if we're not serving love, we can't be serving God. We believe we're all expressions of God, of love, that we're all part of this universal oneness, of this unity of all life. But Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, reminds us unity is not uniformity. We are unique and diverse expressions of God. There's nothing accidental about who we are. And one of my favorite sayings is, "Do you know why you're you?" I heard you. Because nobody else can be. Do you know why you're you? Because nobody else can be. Nobody else is made exactly the way you are. And our spiritual journey is choosing to live that oneness, that integration of the spiritual truth of who we are, the universal truth of who we are, in harmony with that individual, diverse, unique expression of who we are. And we've certainly got a lot of practice of doing something different than that throughout our lives. You know, spirituality is not a thing. It's an atmosphere, it's an attitude. And spirituality is certainly not an obligation. It's a choice. It's a choice to strive to live life as God in grace and good and love. To live as our inner nature of love and allow that to inspire our outer human expression of love. And when we talk about love, especially because we refer to God as being unconditional love, we get very confused about what living love means. We think that we should experience and express unconditional love. But I honestly don't even know that that's possible. Unconditional love is a state of being. It's our inner self, our God self. It's a source, a nature that we're always in connection with. But we've come to think of this concept of unconditional love as the love we want to receive and the love that we think we should give. So we want judgment-free love. We want ridicule and rejection-free love, so that we're free to be me, so that we're free to be that expression of God and grace and good. I'm going to share a video with you that Denise shared with me earlier this week, which I just laughed myself silly, and I probably watched it 100 times. Because for me, it kind of grasps that free to be this unique, diverse, quirky expression of ourselves, and how lifting, how inspiring that is. So let's turn to that.
Hey guys, I got something in the mail today. My whole family hates me right now. Here, hold on, I'll show you. I got a bunny hat. But wait, it gets better. What'd you say? What'd you say? I can't right now. Oh my god, this is too freaking awesome. Okay, one last time.
Wasn't that absolutely hilarious? Tell me you couldn't watch that 100 times. That is a unique, diverse expression of grace and God and joy and love. But wanting to be free from judgment, wanting to be free from ridicule or rejection before we can behave that way, has crippled us in our lives. And then to make it even worse, we not only want to receive rejection-free love, but we believe that we're supposed to give unconditional love. And in order to accomplish that, it means that we have to put the concern of others before any concern for ourselves. We have to make sure we benefit others before there's any benefit for ourselves. So other people's thoughts and feelings are given priority importance, while our own thoughts and feelings are considered unimportant by comparison. And to be successful at this model of what we think is living spiritually and living the higher life and living unconditional love, we have to be totally in control of our thoughts and feelings. We have to be willing to manipulate them and deny them and control them and suppress them in order to be in a way that we need to be for someone else's best benefit. Certainly anything that we would do for ourselves instead of considering other people as a priority would be considered selfish and self-indulgent. And we want to engage in this world in a way that we feel we're following this higher calling. So we try to behave according to this external mold that we're trying to build of rightness. My vision of this in my head when I'm contemplating and meditating on it is that God has this jigsaw puzzle that's the whole big picture, and that we're all these unique individual pieces that go into that. And have you ever been doing a puzzle when you have a piece that looks like it belongs here and you just put it in and it just about goes, you have to push it a little bit and it looks like it should go there. It's kind of the right color and well, there's a little bit of a gap, but it looks right. Well, if that piece was not designed to go there, then not only is it compromising its nature, but it's blocking whosever nature does belong there. If we are unique and individualized expressions of God, we all go together in this big picture, in this perfect way, because we were each designed as this unfolding expression of God and grace and good. And the therapist in me, after 35 years of working with troubled people, knows that research conclusively shows the destructive nature of denying and controlling our feelings. They show that we suffer from physical and psychological exhaustion from constantly trying to deflect our feelings. And we suffer this persistent state of anxiety and depression, and oftentimes pronounced feelings of inferiority or alienation or emptiness. And over time, there's this systematic weakening and a likely destruction of our sense of self-worth. And we have a diminished ability to make a decision in our own best interest. And consequently, we have an increasing vulnerability to others negating our own reality to assert theirs. I always say we teach people how to treat us. So if we're always controlling our feelings as unimportant and deferring to other people's, well, aren't we going to teach them to make sure that they assert theirs? And overall, it results in declining inner resources to give our best to the key people and projects and purposes in our lives, to flow that genuine, diverse, unique expression of God and grace and good. Why does it have such a negative impact? Well, because we were required to trade our inner nature for outer conformity. Rather than developing the truth of who we are, we spent a lifetime cultivating the truth of who others want us to be, or who we think we should be. And that required that we deliberately and consistently turned off our inner awareness, our inner consciousness. We cut off that direct communication and connection between our higher spiritual self and our human self, which someone said makes about as much sense as giving a sleeping pill to your watchdog. Giving a sleeping pill to your watchdog. We don't want circumstances and opinions to drive us. We want love and the truth of who we are, the whole truth, our spiritual truth integrating and harmonizing with our human truth. We want that to be what guides our life and our choices. No such thing as unconditional love. Living as our whole selves, it doesn't necessarily keep us from doing what we consider bad things, doing unloving or unoneness-like things. But because there's communication between our higher self and our human self, it keeps us from enjoying them. And that disturbance is what inspires us to look again and to think again and to try again. And isn't that really why we're here? Isn't that why most people find their way to these New Thought churches? Because they're aware of that inner disturbance. They know that something is not resting in peace. They know that there's too much effort in their being in this worldly place if they are expressions of God. Do you know why you're you? Because nobody else can be. You're a unique expression of God. You're right just the way you are. That doesn't mean that there's not a social element of you living in harmony with other individuals. That's absolutely true too. That also needs to harmonize with us. But first, we have to embrace what it means to be the expression of God and grace, to be this diverse, unique creation. And right here, right now, at this very time, there is no other reason or purpose for life than to be wholly the truth of who we are. To bring God and grace and good and love and peace and joy and harmony into our worldly expression in just your way, just your unique way. People don't have to think what you think for you to think it. People don't have to do what you do for you to do it. People don't have to be what you are for you to be it. Your rightness is in totally aligning with that connection between what flows through you and is universal as grace and God and good, and what flows through you as your unique expression of that. So your mission, my friends, if you so choose to accept it, know why you're you. Do you know why you're you? Because nobody else can be. So be uniquely you. Look different, love different, live different. Be uniquely you and allow your inner feelings to be your guide. If they're not in harmony, the truth of who you are spiritually with your expression in your human world and life, you will feel that sense of disturbance, and it will call you. It'll call you to re-examine, it'll call you to rethink, it'll call you to retry. That's the only judge and determination for what should guide our life and our decisions. Do you know why you're you? Because nobody else can be. So be you. You are God's very best chance at the human race. Do you know why you're you? Because nobody else can be. We can't go back and make a new start, but we can start now and make a new ending. We are the people. Now is the time, and this is the way. Namaste, my friends.